Hello, hello, and welcome to the Franchise Millionaire Show. I'm your host, Andrea Bailey Brown, and this is where we help you on your road to franchising. And we talk all things franchising, whether you are a franchise millionaire or whether you aspire to franchising or to learn more, you are actually in the right place. And I'm excited about today because I'm not going solo. I have a guest with me and who's becoming a friend as well, Ade, and we are going to be talking about her journey and how she got into franchising and so much more. So, welcome, Ade.
Thank you, Andrea, and thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yes, and for everyone, where are you currently? Where are you based? Where do you live?
Oh, I'm based in Montreal.
Yes, in Montreal. See, she's saying it very French. So she is in Montreal in Canada. So that's awesome. And let's just so what led you to Montreal? Like there's so many great Canadian cities but and provinces, but yeah, tell me a little bit about why Montreal for you and your family.
Okay, we moved to Montreal in 2021, I believe. Yeah, job moved us. So we originally live in Calgary in Alberta. So, demand for job, we have to move, and yep, that's where we are.
That's where you are. Okay, great. And so I was thinking back before we start the recording today. I'm like, trying to remember how we originally met. We met through your brother-in-law, I believe. Yes.
Absolutely, you're right. Yep, we
Yeah.
met
So
through my brother-in-law,
yeah.
who
So
also reside in Calgary.
oh, right, your brother-in-law is in Calgary because I always wanna associate you with Calgary but then I realize you are not there anymore. So we met through your brother-in-law, Adams, who basically worked with us to invest in a franchise, and then he said, "Hey, brother and his wife are also interested in investing in buying a franchise. Maybe you can chat with them." And wow, what a journey that has been as well. So before we get into the world of franchise, I talk about the backstory as to what type of work do you do? What was your 9 to 5 before, on a day to day that you did before you became a franchise owner?
All right, thank you. So, I work for a bank,
Mm,
so that's what I do. Bank and advisor. I deal with more of retail, um, in the personal lending. So
yeah.
that's what I do. I work for a bank.
Okay. And as a banker, you probably see a lot more than the average person when it comes to money, when it comes to financing. You meet people from, I would assume, all different walks of life, right? So what insights do you have from working in the bank that maybe the average person doesn't know or see when it comes when you're in that world and in your day-to-day, and maybe what led you to looking at franchising?
All right. So for me, in terms of my banking experience, I don't work as like a customer facing kind of. So most of the time I'm on the phone with my clients, and where we, have a discussion about their needs and see how we can make it better for them. And talking about the world of franchising, basically, it's like a dream. It's something, I've been aspiring to do a long time. And I've been trying to find a way around it. But luckily, I get to know you, and it makes my life so easy to get things right.
Thank you. And that's awesome. So when did the idea and the dream came to you, right? Because when something comes to us to when we execute on it, there is a period of like a period of time. Like it doesn't for most people, we don't wake up like, "Oh, I want to own a franchise," and then it happens in the next day or two or month. So when did it first speak to you and what was that and why? Like what was happening when this world you started to think about hey, franchising could be something?
Actually, my husband and I, we are people that we really want to give back to the community, one way or the other. It's something is a goal. We want to make a meaningful impacts in people's life. And personally, myself, right from childhood, it's been a passion. It's been a joy for me to help people. And even in my banking role, I'm always motivated to listen and resolve problems for people. So it's been something that's really, in my mind that, oh, I want to do something, especially in the health of our aged. So our seniors, it's something that I've really wanted to do, and I've been talking about it, but I don't know how to go about it, right? Even though I had masters in social work, just to get me in line to that kind of, to be active listening to people, see what they needed, especially for our aged. It's something that has been there for me for a very long time. And I always tell Akim, my husband, that, when the time comes, I really want to do something in this field. But how to go about it, I don't know. What are the things, the process, and in this part of the world, everything has to be in line. You have to follow the process and procedure to get things right. So, but like I said, you make life easier for me when it comes to that. So, you really make that dream come true when we have the opportunity to meet with you, and you were like, Hadi, you don't have to worry. There is a way we can make this happen. You can
Yeah.
start through this way, right? And things are
Yes.
falling in place for us.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for your kind words. And that's what we really want to do in this process of helping people buy franchises to take out the worry, take out the stress, take out the unknown, because I think sometimes we're stopped more by the unknown than the known. And once we see the reality, we're like, oh, okay. There's a phrase I've heard where it says monsters live in the dark. And the monsters sometimes refer to our ideas, the fears. They live in the dark, and once you shed the light on it, you're like, oh, that's really all that it is. So I think that's what we basically try to do. You mentioned that you've always want to give back to the community and help people, and that you also have like your master's in social work, which is very, very impressive. And I may or may not have known that. So sometimes, see, I'm also learning more about the people that I've worked with, and that's fantastic. Um, so you've always wanted to do this, and did this dream for you start in your home country where you're from? Because sometimes, as I said, these ideas have been with us for a while. So maybe tell me about where that started. Was it back in, I believe you're from Nigeria, is that
Yeah,
correct? Yeah,
absolutely.
in
I'm from
Nigeria.
Nigeria. Yeah,
Yeah.
the dream has been from Nigeria ever since before. I had my master's 13, no, 14 years ago. So, and I was like, when I was, well, when I got married and I started talking, we keep talking about what I want to do, what's my dream. It has always been like, because growing up, I'm close to my grannies. So I'm always like, a middleman for my parents and their parents. If anything I called, we just call Adi, can you please help us resolve this situation? I always go to them, and that's where I developed that passion of like trying to understand a lot of things about seniors, what's going on in their mind, what kind of attention do they need, what are the things they are missing. So it's been something that has been building ever since I was a young girl. And I was like, okay, when the time is right, I'm going to do something. That was what really drive my passion to, well, okay, let me go and do something in that, something close to that can help me get to the way of what I'm looking for. And that was when I went for my master's in social work there. But, moving to Canada is a different life entirely. And I found myself in a bank, you know, and I was like, okay, I did biochemistry. I did master's in social work. I couldn't get anything. I was like, okay, bank. I was like, it's not that bad. But you know what? Even as a banker, we're talking to clients, whenever I have the opportunity to talk to people, the joy of helping them resolve the unknown. it gives me joy. And that's the bottom line for me. Like, our goal is to make a meaningful impact in people's life, whether they are old, whether they are young. That's the thing for us. So, and I just keep doing it that way. But at a point I was like, okay, I need to do more. I don't feel it that I'm doing enough. I feel like I need to do more, and I really want to go to where my passion is, and that's why I started exploring, and so be it. I'm here.
Oh, fantastic. I love it. I mean, yeah, you biochemistry, social work, and you're in a bank. And and sometimes I think it's important for people who are listening to realize that our journeys, it's not linear. There are
Mm.
times we take detours on our path to what we really want to do. And sometimes this happens because we really don't believe it's possible for us. So sometimes we're like, is this all there is? Maybe I'll accept it. A bank is not that bad. And we're not saying like a bank is a bad place, but if it's not the right place for you, then eventually something is going to be missing from you, even if you're in the best job or you're working with the government or a tech company. But if it's not right for you, something is going to always speak to you. So, and I'm glad that you listen to that voice where it says, I need to do more. And constantly try to listen in, and then you leaned into that. And another thing that I've realized, I don't know your thoughts on this, but there are times I wonder, like, what a lot of us, we may go to the bank for advice and knowledge on different things, but we've always had the answer within us to know what our next step to do. And so there's always that part for me as well, as to in the whole banking system and what other alternatives are there. Were there people in the bank that knew about franchising and that could help you get into that, even though we respect these big institutions because they have nice buildings, and we think like that's where the answer lies. So what's your thought on that, Ajay?
To be honest, I don't really know because it's a different kind of sector entirely, and I was like, I don't think I'm looking for what I'm looking for. I don't think is there. Even though I enjoyed my time, I enjoy the fact that I connect with people, have impacted a lot of people, I've educated people in some things they don't know. I will never throw that away. It's a huge knowledge, and it's something I'm so passionate about because everything is still surrounded by, you are giving back, you are educating people, you are making people, you know, known of what they don't know, right? And things are getting better for them. So, which is great.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so now let's switch over to, you've decided this is the path that so tell me, when did you first hear about your brother-in-law investment in the franchise or working with us? So we're going to take people now on the franchising journey. So if we can switch gears a little bit. So um tell me about how that happened. What your brother-in-law said, what he did, like maybe were you having dinner together? Was it a phone conversation? So maybe take us from the beginning.
To be honest, everything was a phone conversation. And sometimes when the time is right, it's just right. And right before we spoke about it, we've been talking in the house with my husband, and we're like, "So what do you want to do? What do we want to do?" I was like, "I want to do something for myself. I want to do something different. Not that I don't enjoy banking, I do, but I need to do more. I have that feeling." And he was like, "Yes, I think we need to do more." And we started thinking, oh, how do we go about this? This is your passion that you've been talking about. I was like, I don't know. I'm not, I don't have an idea. And luckily, my brother-in-law and his wife, they are both in the health sector, sort of. And they are like, they just call one day and we start talking, and they're like, this is what we're thinking. And I was like, oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
They're thinking about this, they want to do this because we guys, we are very close and we talk a lot. And we are like, oh, this is what we want to do. And we are like, oh, that's beautiful. And suddenly he just said, why don't you guys just do this? And I was like, oh, that is speaking to us. This is what I've been looking for. And, myself and my husband would just look at ourselves like, yes. Why not?
Yeah.
And, and it was like, I have somebody. I have her name is Andrea. I'm gonna connect you with her. She's gonna tell you everything you need to do. I was like, really? And that's the way the whole thing
That was
started.
it.
That was it.
Yes, yes. And that was so great that you're part of a family where he was willing to share that information because sometimes some people are very much like, this is my info and that's it. Let me first see how it goes after I'm successful for 3, 5 years, maybe then I will let you in on this. So I think that was great that he felt you and your husband, you and Akeem could also be successful doing this. So we got the referral there, and so I guess I could ask a question again about the industry, but what was your biggest fear, before buying the franchise? Like, did you have any fears that came up about investing or what to do, or was it just, like, you felt like you were in the right place all along?
Well, biggest fear before buying a franchise, I would say, concerns towards, financial investments
Yes.
and the operational complexity of running a healthcare
Mhm.
related business. And we are able to we overcame that that fear by conducting research, doing more of research, seeking expert advice, and leveraging the support of the franchise network to ensure
Yes.
we are well prepared. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So I know along your journey because you worked with our agency and together, um we knew that there were some challenges and stuff that came along, which we will definitely talk about. But just for everyone listening, what is the name of your franchise? What do you do? Who do you help? And so maybe just we'll talk about that because that's basically what you've invested in now. So let's just talk about the name of your company and who you serve and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So myself and my husband are a proud owner of a 16 hands home care franchise in Ottawa. Our business focused on providing high quality in home care services to seniors and individual, who need assistance with daily lives with daily living, basically. And like I said earlier, my husband and I embark on this journey with the goal of making a meaningful impact in our communities by ensuring that families have access to compassionate and reliable home care support.
Okay. Wow, that was well said and succinct. I love it.
Thank
That
you.
was that was really, really good. And so what are the statistics in this industry about seniors? I saw something that said they're like, I don't know, every minute or 5 minutes, how many thousand people are turning 65. So what is it about if we talk about what home care really means, can you kind of expand on that? Like what that really looks like for people? Like, is it that you're at a certain age and you want help, but you want to stay in your home versus going to a facility? Just maybe expand on that in this sector.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, in home care services, basically it helps in terms of people that wants to remain in their home, whether they are going through any challenges of life, and especially I'm going to start from the seniors. For the seniors, as they age, we know, there's not much we can do. We just have to pass through that horse. And when it gets to a certain age, a lot of people are being, um, they don't have a choice. They have to move to a retirement home. Not that they are willing, but they don't have a choice. It's like the hospitals might say, we can leave you at home without somebody to take care of you. And that will leave them with no choice of transferring them, transferring them to a long-term home. And what we've seen in this industry is that a lot of seniors, they want to remain where their memories are, where they've built a lot of memories. They want to have their life in their home, enjoy, All these memories are there. And being taken from the hospital, sometimes they wouldn't discharge them because there's no one to care for them at all. So right from the clinic, some people are being just referred like, we're sorry, there's no who is going to take care of you. Would you have to either go to a long-term home or this? But they want to be respected, they want to be independent, they want to enjoy the last piece of their life within the comfort of their home. And that is what we are trying to do. Like, you don't have to feel like, oh, this is the end of it for me. I can enjoy what I'm used to. So we try to bridge that space of, in your home you can live there, you can have all the things you wished for, and be respected, being cared for without being have to being sent to a retirement home or a long-term facility despite your conditions. And this is not just for seniors, even for any other person that need assistance. Everybody is a caregiver, every one of us. And sometimes we get burnout out of stress of, we don't have anybody to be there for us to support. That's what we are doing. We are there like a respite. We provide respite care for people that need, which just need a breathing space from it, to have somebody to care for us, to care for their family. And that is what we do in terms of providing for people, whether you're disabled or, a newly born mother need help, need assistance with a lot of things. And those are the things. And we are trying to reduce readmission at the hospital. We don't want to reduce hospitalization. Well, because if you look at our hospital today, it's real. If you look at our nurses, our healthcare provider, physicians, they are worked out. They are really working so hard. And if there is a support for them that can help them while, going through all this with their clients, it makes life easy for every one of us. They will be rest assured that there's someone that will take care of them, how they've recommended, what they've, everything they've provided or what they've advised that will work for the client to get better soon. That's where we are bridging the gap to make life easy for everyone.
Oh, that's yeah, such important work. And which brings me like that was so, well said why this service is so needed and why this industry is also thriving. And sometimes everyone gets focused on, everybody thinks franchising is really only about food, but did not they don't realize that their franchises in senior care and this sector is really thriving as well. So if you're listening and you're just thinking, "Oh, I didn't know there were senior care franchises." Yes, they're definitely there, and we're also if you are interested in doing good, in helping, the aging population and giving back, like Ade said, giving back to the community. And there's so much we know that living in Canada, we have our healthcare is paid for and all of that. However, there's still gaps in our system. It's not a perfect system at all, and there are those people who would rather, of course, the government may subsidize part of it, but there are people who would rather stay in their homes and get help there versus being sent to a nursing home or, doing something like that. So definitely franchising is, I would say, there's more to it than food, and this is one of those sectors as well where we have seen some of the some of the numbers that we've seen. You did training, where was yours, some of your training done, I believe, in the US,
Yeah,
in
that is
Florida.
correct.
Yeah,
In
in
Florida.
Florida, and,
Yeah.
at the time, I think some of the numbers we've heard as to how maybe you can shed a quick light on what that franchisee was doing in revenue so people can understand, and some of the misconceptions that they have about franchising in certain industries. We want to debunk some of those myths that they have.
All
So
right.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, what was some of the revenue in terms of that you did, because part of franchising is the training and the support. So you had gone into the US, into Florida, I believe, to do some training. What were the numbers that the franchisee was doing that you trained with as an example?
Well, they are really doing very well. I was really impressed when I went there for my training, and that is exactly what made me go with this company, Assistant Hand Home Care, because of their strong reputation, and also they have a comprehensive support system. So with the numbers, I was really amazed. I might not be able to give you exact numbers, but you will be shocked about the amounts. Just like you said, the club is millionaires. That's what we're talking about. We are not talking about, we are talking about millions when you put the hard work, though, because everything is still subjected to hard work, and once you follow the process.
Exactly. Yeah. So it is it's basically I do agree it is about putting in that hard work. The franchisee that you're training with, they're doing multi-millions, but of course it's not happening in the first month or two or three. I think that's another misconception. People also, it's a terminology that I see. Sometimes people want to go from mountaintop to mountaintop, right? So if you're working at the bank, you're working with the government, maybe you're a doctor, you're getting paid well. Some people just want to do the exact and they're not willing to give the business time to grow. And in this sector, it's a very lucrative sector. But like everything else, you really have to put in that work to so that you can actually build your business. You're buying a company and you're building a company, and you have to be willing to put some work in or hire people that's going to help you to put the work in as well. Um, so another question that I have for you is what are some of the what have been some of the biggest challenges that you had in getting your business up and running, and how did you overcome those? Because again, we want to talk about, the joy and the reality and some of the challenges that happen along the road. So, what were those?
So, what I would say to that is basically access to funding, you know, business networking, and sometimes can be very more challenging. And, however, you have to be, perseverance, leveraging on community resources, and networking with like-minded entrepreneur have really helped us overcome that barrier. So in terms of the funding, yeah, we, good thing, and that's what a lot of people don't know. The franchise model provide credibility, when seeking finances, as lenders were more, confident in investing in a well-established brand. So if you are thinking of franchise, you can definitely approach banks as long as it's a franchise, because that's what the lenders are looking for.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. When we talked about some of that was one of the challenge. Absolutely. Access to funding is one of the biggest barriers to people buying a business and investing in a business. And it's such a barrier that some people just decide that they won't start. And I really encourage the clients and people I work with, you have to start the process to find out what your challenge is. There's no one set rule in banking where if you make a certain amount of money, you're set, because you could make, 150,000 a year, but your debt ratio is so high. While I have someone else making only 60,000 a year, they own their home, everything is paid off, and they can still qualify. So you just don't know. We cannot say there's one set thing. One set thing I can actually say is if you want to buy your business outright with cash, you are good to go. Right. So let's say you have the money and you're like, this company you want to buy it. Absolutely, you don't need the bank. But if you do need to work with the banks, then you have to go through that process, do your business plan if they require one. And a business plan is a little bit easier with a franchise system because all the answers are already there. How much does it cost? How many, what's your tariff? Like within that franchise disclosure document, you can pull a lot of things from there to help you create a business plan so the banks can have what they need. And then if there are things you're not sure about, you can call someone from that corporate office and say, what do I say here? And you have all your line items that you need from the franchisor. So definitely the funding side it intimidates people a lot. You've been in the banks. Why do you think the fund people are intimidated by the banks and funding and going through that? Like you've seen the the people come in scared or like I would say a bit of a negative connotation about the banks. So do you know where that's all stems from or why?
Well, what I would say is that sometimes people don't have all the necessary documents required for them to get through. And when you don't have it, they're like, what? And most of the time, when people call they're seeking for loans, basically what they will ask it, what do you need? What do you need me to provide? Like, oh, take it easy. We'll take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
And people are already, nervous to like, oh, he's gonna ask me so much. But as long as you have all the right documentation, because everything is a risk, right? We are lending, bank is lending you somebody else money, and they have to ensure that everything is, done. Due diligence has to be done. So, which is one key thing that chase a lot of people. And if you don't have it right, there's no much the bank can do for you. And that's why, franchising really make a difference because when you're starting a business, because it's been tested, right? It's a
Yes.
structured kind of model that we have when it comes to franchise. And they know that it's not just something you're trying to do today. It's something that has been going on and they can see, the trend and the sustainability of that brand and how they've been moving from one year to the other, and which gives the bank or the lender the assurance that, okay, I think we are good compared to what you're just going to start by yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's good. So, one thing that we want us to touch on is the path to franchising isn't always a straight road. So, let's talk about the fact that you are in Montreal, but where are you actually running your business? So, if people are looking for you, they know where to find you and who you can help and referrals and all of that. So, maybe we want to talk a little bit about that journey and what that was like and why you are in one place running your business elsewhere. I think we should give the people a little bit of the tea.
Absolutely. Yes, people
Yeah.
like she said she's living in Montreal and
Yes.
she a business in Ottawa. That's true. And and that's what comes with when you're determined. And regardless of the challenges, you will still, keep going and believe everything will be fine. So initially I want to set up the business in Montreal, but due to language barriers and Lisbon, my French is still pretty much rusty. And I was like, okay, it will be wise for me to do it differently and probably still have one later on in Montreal as time goes. But, Ottawa is pretty close to where I live, and it's just on our commitments. So, and I was like, that's not so much to do for myself.
Yes. Okay,
And
there we go. So, yes, so if you're wondering where her business is actually in Ottawa, they live in
exactly.
Montreal, but very close, so about an hour commute. And again, business is not always convenient where we get things right in our backyard. And I mean, I remember I live in Edmonton and our first Jiffy Lube location was in Calgary, so that's a 3-hour commute because there was just so even though it's in the same province, it was 3 hours away, so you're still in a better position, with only an hour where you're in another province, based on where you live, but, yeah, we basically went through that same thing where business I said business is not convenient. Sometimes you have to take the path untraveled, and people want to have everything right in their backyard convenience. And it was where the only location was. And if we had waited, we don't know if we would have still been with the Jiffy Lube family because we could have said no, waiting around, someone else takes that, and then our opportunity would be gone. So we really made it work. We commuted back and forth until we were able to invest in something in Edmonton. But timing is everything. And so we were sometimes you really have to take a risk in business and sometimes I think people overestimate the risk. They're like, "Oh my god, the risk is gonna be bad." Not every risk is like turns out terrible, and so I think we also have to reframe when we look at risk where we think like, if I buy a business, I'm gonna lose my house, lose my car, lose everything, and that's when you really are not sure if you want to do something, so you always think it's the worst and really make the risk look like it's just super, super, extreme. So I'm curious, like, what is something that surprised you about being a franchise owner that you didn't expect. You're like, "This is pretty cool," or "This is different. I didn't expect this to happen." What are any of the surprises that you've had, um, about being a franchise owner?
Um, if I think about it, I think the level of autonomy we have while still, benefiting from the structured business model. Even though we are part of a franchise system, we have the flexibility to adapt strategies that suit our local market. That's
Mm.
beautiful.
Yes. Yes. That's I may have to quote that. I may have to quote that. The level of autonomy and the flexibility. And why did that surprise you? Like, why was that the surprise?
Maybe the what I have in mind was like, I'll have to. I'm not too sure of like, okay, we have to do everything their way. But there, I was really surprised when I went for the discovery day, and they're like, no, is your thing. You manage it, you do that. Like, oh, that is impressive. But you still have that structure to guide you on, and when you needed help, you need that support. You have people to talk to that can be like, we've been there. That support system, I think, is the big thing for me in everything. It's so. The other day, I was when we are driving down to our office, and myself and my husband, we were talking about it, and we're like, just imagine if the support is not there, starting from scratch. How is it gonna be? That support it's huge, and there's no other way to say that is the best decision we've ever made.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's a great way to kind of to start racking this up, the best decision you've ever made. And I think that's something I want to touch on quickly is that people also really believe that franchising, you become like a robot. Like you have no decision, you have to follow everything exactly 100%. And you just said it really, really wonderfully, like that there's flexibility in the and there's autonomy where you're going to decide where your office is, who you hire, where you may do your some of your advertising. Of course, the corporate office will guide you to say that here's an ad. This is what you could do. But in the end, it is still all your choice. And that's one of the biggest thing that stops people from investing in a franchise. But yet the speed of getting up and running and your business operating, I would say is about 50 times more than when you try to start from scratch and you're not sure what to do next and does B before A, D before E, like you're not even sure, you're all over the place, and that's basically what slows people down. So what would you say to someone out there listening to this episode and they are thinking they've always thought about you know buying a franchise, they're not sure about it if it's right. What advice would you give someone thinking about coming into this world?
Okay. So what I would tell whoever is thinking of coming to this world is one, do your research, okay? Seek expert advice and choose a franchise that aligns with your passion and skills. Yeah, it's very, very important. It's something that without those things, it can be a big challenge. And also, they should trust the process.
Ah.
Trust the process and being proactive because franchise provides a great structure, but success depends on how well you execute your business strategies.
Yes. Awesome. Oh, I think that was amazing. Trust the process. Life is a process. We have to trust and go through it. And I'm so grateful that you're here and that your brother-in-law introduced us. And now you're also a franchise owner and spreading the word. And it was wonderful to see you in Ottawa almost a couple weeks ago. That was the highlight of my trip. I went for one thing but I got even more by spending time with you and Akeem. And I wish you all the success and I know you will be continue to be successful because you are both putting in the work to grow your business. You're not sitting back and expecting everything to land in your lap. So thank you so much, Ade, for being here. And if you enjoy this episode, I'm going to ask that you share it with someone else that could benefit from this episode. Definitely like and subscribe to our page. We're also on YouTube, so we upload some of these clips. And I can't wait to see you again next time. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you, Andrew, for having me. Thank you.
Yes.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.